Welcome to the Big Jake podcast. This is episode number 8. We're here in May, middle of May 2023. Got some fun stuff happening. Got some cool things coming in the future. So let's get right into it. You know, this last week had a couple of shows. One show was at the open mic at Louisville Comedy Club. The Louisville Comedy Club open mic it can be hit or miss, mostly because the room is so big, So, if you have 40 people and an open mic, that's a good open mic. Except if they're spread out all in darkness and you can't see anybody and they're really not super into it. So sometimes it can be like that. Now this was on Wednesday. It was good crowd, over 40, probably 60 people there. And they were sat all near the front, but not in the front row. So when you're on stage, you really can't see anybody, but you can see that they're there. And I did the 8-minute set at the end of the night, which is always a little bit of pressure because everybody else is doing 4 minutes. They're used to 4 minutes. And then if you do 8 minutes, you feel like you're on there for a long time. You're also doing the most tired audience. They've been sitting there for a while, usually like an hour and a half, an hour 40 minutes. And now your turn. So they're pretty exhausted. There are things that, oh my goodness, there are things that especially open mic comedians do that I think just make it worse for no reason. They do things that tire the audience out. Like here's what I'm thinking. When an open mic comedian comes up on the stage and they start with, give it up for your host, give it up for yourselves, it's like, as audience, we've already clapped for you. And now you're going to make us do it 3 more times. Or even 1 more time. Over the course of a night, that can really add up. It's a lot of clapping, man. And the host really needs to keep the show moving. Sometimes hosts will do things like have everyone clap for the guy that just got off stage twice. So the open micer will finish. They'll say, all right, that's my time. And they'll leave. The audience will clap. Host will come up on stage, grab the microphone and say, hey, give it up for them. And then they'll clap again. Why? It's not that big of a deal. Let's just keep this machine going and know that the shorter amount of time between the comedians, the less applause that happens, the better the show will be for everybody, especially those going late. Because if you're in an audience and you're asked to clap again and again and again, 30, 40 times, you don't clap every single time. So you stop participating. And when you stop participating, you stop paying attention at least a little bit, and you just lose a lot of it. And that's another thing. When a comedy show has too many people on the bill, that alone can feel like a long show. You have an hour-long show, which is not a long show, but if you have an hour-long show and it's 10 comedians doing 6 minutes, that can feel like just really long because you've had that changeover so many times. You've had all right, that's it for me. All right, here's the next guy. All right, that's it for me. Here's the next guy. And just again and again and again. And as soon as you get used to somebody, they're off the stage, all of that. Anyway, I was at the Louisville Comedy Club open mic, and that's what that happened. Then this weekend, I had something that's on the books for a long time. On Friday, I was scheduled to perform, be the entertainment at the high school that I used to work at their junior senior banquet. So this high school is a Christian high school, which means their prom is not just a straightforward, let's show up and dance. Their prom is a banquet where there are traditions that they observe, where all of the juniors make a prediction about the seniors. All of the seniors give a gift to the juniors. The sophomores serve a meal. It's this whole thing. And then, after hours and hours, then they're allowed to dance for a little while. So that's the event. And I was contacted by one of the juniors through Instagram. So an Instagram direct message is the official route in which I was communicated. Not an email, a phone call, nothing, just an Instagram direct message. So when I showed up, I was hoping the adults knew that I was going to be there. Because so far, I have only contacted a junior via Instagram. So I show up, the adults knew I was there, they had a printed out order of service or whatever, and I was in there. So it's all good, and everybody was very nice. That was great. Now, I had this on my books for a long time, and just, 2 weeks ago, something like that, I was offered 5 shows this weekend. A booker said, hey, do you want to do 5 shows with Chris Kattan in Fort Wayne, Indiana this weekend? And I said, I'm open on Thursday and Saturday, but on Friday I got this other thing. And they really wanted somebody for the whole weekend, so I couldn't do it. So I turned down a pretty good gig for this, which is fine. It happens. I have the mentality, if it's on the books, then it's on the books. So you turn it down, you turn it down. It's no big deal. Anyway, so I was doing this show, and the venue and the format was just not set up well. So the thing started at 6. I was supposed to do 15 minutes of comedy. The kid introduces me. They started a little bit late, which is not that weird. They started a little bit late, and the kid introduces me with basically like, okay, here's Jake Ovis. Boom. Like no announcements, which is fine. It's just we need to start by making this group of people into an audience. That's our first goal, is we need to make them one unit. And that can be done pretty easy with, all right, hey, how we doing? Let's sit down. Let's get started. Yeah, all right. Stuff like that. You do that a little bit. You get everyone's attention. You get started. Boom. That really didn't happen. So now, all right, jump up there. And I do, and it's a banquet. So they're all sitting around circle tables, which means a lot of them are not facing me because they're on a circle table. Not only that, they're all dressed up, so I'm sure they're distracted by just plain wearing uncomfortable clothes. The room, the acoustics were bad. They're too far away. For a comedy night, this is just hitting every box of this is going to be a hard show. Apparently, the people in the back could not hear me. I found that out later. But then the worst piece was the the waiters. So in a comedy club, comedy clubs have waiters. It's no big deal. The comedy club waiters usually know what's going on. And I've been on stage at a comedy club so many times when I've seen the waiters interact with the audience. And they know what they're doing. The waiters are great. They'll, do you need anything else? No. Done. Do you need anything else? Okay. Got it. Done. And very, very short. Just get in there. They know what they're doing. And of course, the waiters are serving 25 tables, 25 people, something like that, as opposed to what was happening on Friday, where each table had like 2 waiters, because the sophomores, the non-professional sophomores, were the waiters. And they're real eager. So that meant there was a time I'm standing on stage and every single table, now there's only like 12 tables, but all 12 tables have a waiter talking to them at the same time. It's going to be hard to have a good comedy show when they are this distracted. Usually, if I see the waiter, if I'm at a comedy club and I see a waiter at this table and them going back and forth, and a joke doesn't hit that table, I'm like, well, of course, that's why. They weren't paying attention to it. No big deal. I'm not concerned about that at all. That's just normal. That's what's going to happen. But when every table is distracted at the same time, oh my goodness. So it was a tough show. It's interesting that this was one of maybe the worst show I've done. Definitely the worst show I've done in 2023. I can remember doing worse at an open mic a few months ago, or maybe a year and a half ago, I did worse at an open mic. This was bad. This was real bad. And at one time I actually said into the microphone, I said, man, this is going poorly. Can you imagine how worse it would be if you guys didn't like me? Because they do. They did like me. They want me to succeed. They're on my side. They're just distracted. They can barely hear. Things are happening. It's just not the right environment. And that's fine. So I'm not sweating. It's kind of more funny that things didn't go well. You know, I turned down 5 feature gigs, 5 shows, paid gig, in order to do a free show for a high school banquet, and it goes poorly. So, such is life. That's what you have to do sometimes. The next day, on Saturday, I was the MC for a dog pageant. This was in Scottsville, Kentucky. They had a dog pageant at a park, and they had about 20 dogs enter. There's these different categories, and my job was to introduce the dogs, say something about them. The dogs would do a trick. I'm introducing the dogs, and the dogs would keep going. I was joking around a little bit while the judges were like tabulating their votes. I was farting around with the crowd. That was pretty fun. All of it was a hoot. It was real weird to be a dog pageant MC. There are many times when I'll do something, I'm like, I'm not sure if that job actually exists, but I did it. I was dressed as a ghost and was a roulette dealer. I was an auctioneer for a golf tournament. There's just weird stuff that you do. And you're like, all right, well, now this is what I'm doing. But here's a dog pageant MC. I can add that to the resume. So as far as comedy, pretty weird week of comedy. A free show where I bombed in front of high school kids, and a dog pageant MC. Great. Upcoming, I've got a couple of fun shows coming up next week, including one that I am most excited about, something that I've had on the calendar for a while now. Tomorrow, I am at Zany's in Nashville for their New Material Monday. I have never been on the Zany's stage. It is a great club. I've gone to the club a few times. Really enjoyed just being there. And now the opportunity to get on stage is huge. Very exciting. And then Saturday, I am featuring with a headliner, Jason Wrestler. It's interesting. Jason is a guy who I connected with on Facebook recently, and he made a poster for this show, and he tagged me in it, and so I kind of saw who he was. He made a statement that he was 25 years. He's celebrating 25 years of being a comedian. And I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. He's out of Cincinnati. He was actually at the open mic on Wednesday. And his first joke reminded me that I had seen him before. I don't remember where. But I'm like, oh man, I have seen him. So we're going to do a show together on Saturday. That means I have only seen him at open mics. I talked to him later. He said I saw him at the Caravan open mic. So I've only seen him at open mics. He's only seen me at open mics. So it's hard to judge each other. I'm definitely not doing my best stuff at an open mic. He might be, I don't know. But open mics, my philosophy is much more to try to build material, try to work out stuff, as opposed to let's just do some good stuff and have a good time. I'm more interested in seeing what works, using it as a test. Other comedy news. I am trying to experiment. So I've done the Tiny Mike jokes. If you've checked it out on YouTube, I've did a few of these jokes where I do puns, really kind of lame jokes, using a tiny microphone. Not good. They have not gone well. I haven't had a lot of hate on them, but it seems like people are not really liking them, which is fine. And I'm not sure how much I like them, which is a bigger deal. I did another experiment. I haven't published this yet, but the experiment is with lists. I like the idea of writing lists and having the top 7 reasons for this or the top 7 tips for that. For some reason, I like the number 7. I think that's fun. And there you go. I might not use the word top. Maybe just 7 tips for, or 7 ideas from, something like that. I don't necessarily like the idea of using the word top. As soon as you say top blank list, even if you change the number, you think of David Letterman's top 10 list, which I was a fan of. Who wasn't a fan of David Letterman's top 10 list? But I want to do something similar and different. So we'll keep thinking about that. Try to keep working on that. I've been reading a good amount of novels. Been thinking about novels and novel writing. Maybe something will hit the page this week. We'll see. I hear myself now. If you say that, maybe something will. We'll see. Nothing's going to happen. Such is life sometimes. I'm going to tell you a story about my grandma. I've got 2 grandmas, not to brag. Well, they're both dead now, but I did have two grandmas on my mom's side, my dad's side. My mom, her side was the Rhodes, so Granny Rhodes. She was interesting. She's a nice lady. My grandpa Rhodes was the last surviving grandparent who died about a year and a half ago, maybe. And he looked a lot like Santa Claus. Big white beard. And he even did years ago. But Granny Rhodes, she was an interesting lady. And this story is a little bit more about her. So my brothers and I, we would spend the summer with my grandparents in Florida. We did this, I want to say a couple of times, but at least one summer we spent with them in Florida. And so several months we're in Florida. It's me, my two brothers, and my grandparents. And my grandma had a little white poodle. Not a standard poodle, not a big guy, but a toy poodle, a little white toy poodle. And he was scary. At the time, I'm a little guy, and I was scared of this little poodle because I heard stories. My brothers are relentless, older brothers. Their job is just to scare little brothers. That's how it happens. And they're trying to scare me about how mean this dog is. Like, this dog is so mean. Don't get anywhere near this dog. It is a mean dog. And I'm thinking he's a little white dog, but he's also a dog. I don't know. Maybe he's a mean dog. So I'm scared of the dog. And he was a little yippy, where he would kind of aggressively posture up. Now, he wouldn't be biting or anything. He wouldn't be like going crazy, but he was protective of my granny, and just like a dog is. And if you get barked at and you're a little guy, you're like, why is this dog barking at me? This is weird. Anyway, but Teddy was this little poodle, scary, tiny poodle. He had a habit of rubbing his downstairs area all over the carpet. So I'm pretty sure he was male, and I'm pretty sure he was neutered, but he liked to dry off his dog business on the carpet. And the way he would do that is he would like splay his back legs out. So he's like spread eagle in the back, and his front paws are up like normal. So if you can imagine a dog that their back end is just slammed down to the ground, there's low riding the back end. And then he would take his little front paws and leave his back paws limp. Front paws just go crazy all over the carpet. And he would propel himself across the carpet, back and forth across the carpet. And my granny said that he was swimming. Look at Teddy, he's swimming. Now, from this perspective, I know that this dog is rubbing his wiener on the carpet. This is a weird thing to happen, just kind of in public, every day. Here's a dog rubbing himself on the carpet. But at the time, I'm like, oh, he's swimming. Okay, look at Teddy swim. That dog's dead now, so I guess he's swimming somewhere else. Swimming with the fishes. All right. As far as books go, I've been reading. Here's an interesting piece. Is I went to a church yard sale over the weekend. They had filled this bag for $5, and they had some good books. I filled 2 bags with 25 total books. I also Went to the movies on Friday, and on my way to the movies, I stopped by Half Price Books, bought an additional 5 books. Went to a different yard sale, bought another book. So over the course of the weekend, I bought 31 books. Spent in the neighborhood of $20 for my 31 books. And have not really cracked them open. It's only been a couple of days. I've got a huge amount of books over here on the mantle, just staring me down. And I'm looking forward to it. So I want to read. I have a goal of reading 30 minutes a day. Most days I crush that goal, and I'm thinking about extending that goal to make it an hour a day. We'll see. One of the books I've been reading, Gene Perret, he's How to Write Comedy book. He talks about writing comedy in a routine, which I thought was very interesting. He had this method. Here's how to write a comedy. Here's how to write a comedy routine, which was very simple. And he started with a premise that I instantly connected with. He started with saying this: any comedian can write 5 or 6 jokes on any topic, but only about 5 or 6. You want 40 jokes on a topic, you can't do it. And I was thinking, yeah, you give me a topic, I can bust out 5 or 6 jokes, boom, boom, boom. But if you want me to keep drawing from that well, it feels like it gets empty after that. And his solution is simple and brilliant. Take your main topic, break that main topic into 5 or 6 subtopics, and then write jokes on those subtopics. You do that, then you've got 25 to 35 jokes on your main topic. And so I tried that over the course of this week. My main topic was that I went to seminary. That's my main topic. I went to seminary. Subtopics included things like a lot of the professors are pastors. The school has grades. The people tend to be very nice. I had to learn Greek and I had to learn Hebrew. Those are some of the subtopics. So now I'm trying to write a joke on learning Hebrew, or a joke on your pastor is also a professor, or your professor is also a pastor. How do you write a joke about that? And so I did that, and then I compiled them all. I haven't had a chance to get to an open mic to actually try this routine yet, but I am pretty happy with the routine. It seems tight. It seems worth trying, and it really wasn't that hard. It was pretty straightforward. It's one of these things where you feel like you know how to get better. You know, it's tricky that way. Sometimes in life you're thinking, how do I actually get better at this? But this is a way, I think, to get better and to get obviously more material. The diet. Oh, oof. So for a guy who has successfully dieted as much as I have, I mean, 2 years ago, I was well over 100 pounds heavier, probably 160 pounds heavier. So over the course of just a couple of months, a relatively short amount of time, I've done really well. I haven't been losing. I've kind of been plateaued for the last several months, but that's better than yo-yoing. There's times in my life where I've lost a lot and then almost immediately gone back up. I've been pretty stable. But, diet this week. I was really toying with the idea of cheating on the diet on Thursday. I was strong and said, nope, not doing it. Not cheating on Thursday. But I am going to plan to cheat on Friday. So I went to the grocery store and I got some whole milk and some cereal. So I'm like, hey, we're going to have some cereal tomorrow. Woke up on Friday, had my cereal, all things good. Saturday, so Friday had a good cheat day. Great. What are we going to do Saturday? Well, Saturday I've got to go to the dog pageant. And, well, we had to go to the church yard sales, and one thing led to another. Somehow we wound up in the McDonald's drive-thru during breakfast hours, and McDonald's breakfast really calling your name. And then, so Saturday went downhill. And then Sunday today, I woke up and I'm thinking, I have all this cereal and I haven't had a chance to try it yet. I have Cinnamon Toast Crunch, unopened box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What are we doing with my life if I'm not at least tasting and seeing that it is good? So today also went sideways. So what should have been a cheat day turned into a cheat 3-day weekend. And there it is. We'll see. Got to get back on the keto horse. I do want to hit some new mics. I do want to get to some new opportunities. I want to be able to try the seminary bit. I think that seminary bit is worth trying. So I haven't had a chance to really try some of the new bits this week. I did try some new stuff on Wednesday at Louisville Comedy Club, but it was stuff that I wasn't brand new, but it was newish. It's stuff that's not in my regular routine, but it is close to my regular routine. However, the seminary bit, very interested. New bit or area I want to explore is man boobs. I just like the concept of man boobs. I had a joke one time of, like, my wife and I don't see eye to eye. We see eye to bottom crease of man boob. And then I would do a new joke now that I've lost a lot of weight. It's not bottom crease of man boob. It's just eye to nip because I'm melting. That's the joke. I want to explore that a little bit. What ways I can do that, I don't know. But I like the concept. I think it's funny. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Hope all is well, and I'll see you in the next one.